Oh my God, I think I am in complete love with that opening video, and I hope I get to use it more times this season. Thank you everybody for joining us. This is Tactical Preview PSG versus United in the Champions League. Please drop the video a like if you're enjoying the content, and if you're new around here as well, drop a subscribe. We do these before every single major game in the Champions League and every single game in the Premier League. Right then, let's talk about what went wrong in the first game. We did this in United Review, but I think it's worth covering over again because I've had another couple of times to watch the games to really see what I thought it was where it went wrong. So for me, there was three main reasons why United failed in that game, aside from the ref and aside from the injuries. I want to talk purely on the football. The first one was Pogba was man-marked, and we've seen teams try and do this, and we've seen teams been variantly successful in how they've managed to deal with this, but PSG did a fantastic job on this one. So Pogba being man-marked out of the game was a massive issue for United because he is our creative outlet. Now, we don't have him for tomorrow night. That's a problem. The other thing was Di Maria and Draxler was in the half space in between the midfield and the defence. And the reason for that was because the defence had just dropped off a few yards because they was worried about Mbappe's pace. And because they was worried about Mbappe's pace, Draxler and Di Maria just sort of came in just behind our midfield in the two spaces next to the centre halves and basically caused havoc. And I hate to say it, and it pains me to say it, but Di Maria was absolutely fantastic. And if we want to have any hope of what's going to happen over in France, we have to deal with Di Maria, and I don't know how we do that. That's a massive issue for us. The other thing was they effectively shut out our left side with Keller and with Dani Alves on the right flank. They basically had two defenders, similar to what you might see United line up with tomorrow with Delo and with Ashley Young. They had two players that effectively shut out where United's main attacking outlet comes from because they've scouted us. Because if you watch us or you've watched United Review, you'll see constantly that we're doing all that sort of stuff on the left-hand side. Shaw, Marshall, Pogba, that is our go-to area to create things. And when that wasn't working, our only outlet was Ashley Young on the right-hand side, and you all know my feelings on that one. So that was what I thought our issues was in the last game. So this game, what are we looking at? We're looking at no Paul Pogba. Massive, massive, massive issue. This was a hard ask for United with a full starting 11. This is a hard ask for United without injuries. This is an even harder ask for United without, I think, one of the best midfielders in the world currently in Paul Pogba. I thought if he's able to get on the ball, look at how some of our goals have come in the big games. The Tottenham game with Marcus Rashford. That's literally a blueprint of what I wanted to see from United in this game. Video's frozen. Oh no, 1 second. I'll be right back. Right, I'm back. Apologies for that, it froze. And I'm on my own in here today, so I had to run off and go and sort it. But yeah, that's the issues that I see for United at the moment, is that with no Paul Pogba to play those balls into the final third, then I really want to see someone come in and take on that creative responsibility. Andreas Pereira is the one that I think might be able to do it, but even he, I don't know if he can actually go on and do that. He's had two half-decent games this season. He's probably had more bad games this season. When he's been moved further forward, you can actually see the qualities that he's got, and he is a playmaker, but he's nowhere near the level of Paul Pogba. I see qualities in Angel Gomez where I go, with the ball at his feet, he can find those balls in the final third. He can open up defences. But can Angel Gomez do the physical side of things? Can he do the running around that Paul Pogba does? I don't think so. United can't replace Paul Pogba in this midfield, and that is the fundamental reason why I think that we're going to struggle in this game. We saw in the first half against PSG at Old Trafford, when they did man-mark him, that they was able to effectively shut him out of the game. And the reason that they wanted to shut him out of the game is because United had three attacking options in Lingard, Marshall and Rashford. You can't mark three people at once, so you take the one that you can take out individually. Once we didn't have those three attacking outlets capable of getting in behind the Paris defence, they moved their focus to shut out Marcus Rashford because he was the only attacking outlet. And if you go back and look at the United Review, you'll see the amount of times Pogba's getting on the ball in attacking areas in the first half versus the second half, and that was because simply they allowed him to, because he wasn't a threat, because his over-the-top balls aren't finding anybody. That's my worry, is that they're going to man-mark Marcus Rashford, because I think he's our key to victory in this game. Now, the starting 11 that I'm going to go with is as follows. I really ummed and ahed about whether to go with a back three or a back four. I can see the benefits of going with a back three massively in this instance, because it would allow us to double up without really nullifying our own attacking instincts. It would give us an extra centre-half floating in the middle to deal with that pace that you're going to get with Mbappe, and it would also allow someone to occasionally step into midfield and put a good block in between the half space where Di Maria and Draxler are likely to operate. They're still going to be without Cavani and Cavani and Neymar. I just invented a new guy, Navani. So I think that the issue United have is whether they stick or whether they twist. If they go with a back four, which is what I think they're probably going to do, I expect it's going to look something like this, very similar to the team that finished against Southampton in the week. And the benefits of playing this team is you've got Dalot and you've got Young to double up on that right-hand side and give us a little bit of protection from where I think they're probably going to try and break us down. They had so much joy attacking Ashley Young in the first leg that I think they're going to try and replicate that, and they're going to try and get Mbappe in behind him, and they're going to try and get Draxler in behind him, because you can get in behind him. United's issue is that they've got to decide whether we're going to go out full attack or whether we're going to play possum a little bit, sit back and then try and pick them off when we get the opportunities to. It's a real chess match, this one, because United go out and get the first goal and United are in the driving seat. We get a second goal and I think the momentum is with United. We concede one goal and we've got the mammoth task of scoring 3 goals in Paris with a massively depleted side. Now, yes, a ton of youth has travelled, and I'm absolutely delighted for Brandon Williams. Brandon Williams has been in here playing FIFA in the summer, and now he's off on his way to Paris to go and play in the Champions League. It's absolutely mental to think that. I think that he's probably just going to go as a traveller and not go as part of the matchday squad. I think it's an experience for him to potentially take that step up, maybe this season or next. I think that the bench is going to be Angel, Chong and Mason Greenwood. And I've been saying for the longest time, I think Mason Greenwood has got that X factor. Can you rely on Mason Greenwood to come in and win this game for you? I don't think so. But I think if Solskjaer's brave and if Solskjaer sees the opportunity, I think he's going to do it. I think he's going to give Mason Greenwood his debut in France tomorrow night. And I think it might be a gamble that pays off for him. And I actually can't wait. I actually genuinely can't wait to see him get it in there. Loads of Liverpool fans in the comments saying United are going out. So what? I don't care. If we have to go out early in the Champions League this year to go further in it next year because we've managed to find the right man that suits Manchester United, I don't care. Sometimes you've got to take a step backwards to take a step forward. And I think at United, when the draw was made, we wasn't going through. After the first leg, we wasn't going through. You're not going to have me standing here now saying that we're going through. I don't think we're going through. If I was to put my life on the line right now and say, what score is it? I say 1-1. I say we're able to score a goal, but we concede and then we can't push on any further. And I think 1-1, you'd go, do you know what? I'm taking that, to be honest, at the moment. At least that we haven't bottled the league 3 times when we've been top Christmas, eh? Scouse twat. Right, let's get into the comments. I'm going to head over to Discord first. Get your questions in the comments, and we're going to come to them very, very soon. So Clement says, do you think any of the youth start? So yeah, we just covered that. I don't think so. I think that is probably the most experienced side that we can put out there. This starting 11, as we were just talking about there. I didn't really go into too much detail there. Did I actually talk about the midfield? McTominay, Fred and Pereira is not the best midfield that United could probably ever put out. And I don't know how this midfield copes with the likes of Verratti. But this is all we can do. So this is all we can do, is to try and put this out and hope we can hit them on the counter. I'm looking to Fred and I'm looking to Pereira to find those balls into the channel that are going to make the difference for us. And I'm looking to Dalot to deliver a cross onto Lukaku. Because the form he's in, the form that Marcus is in, one of them can get us a goal. And a goal is enough to give us a fighting chance. I still think we're going out. But the way these games can go, you might see Paris crumble. And that's what we're hoping for. We're hoping for a massive outside chance. We're not sitting here going, watch this, we're going to go and slap Paris around. We're massive underdogs, and I think everyone's treating it as such. Hugo says, excited to see who plays well, who plays with all the youth in the squad. What are the chances of Mason starting alongside Rashford and Lukaku up top? What an absolute shock that'd be. And I think that might give the players a lift, and maybe that's something that happens. Maybe that's something that Ollie's kept up his sleeve. Maybe Greenwood's not been ill or injured. Maybe Greenwood's been getting worked on in training for a specific game in the future where United need to pull a rabbit out of the hat. Stu, if youth starts, is it pants off to watch the game? Well, there's 8 youth players travelled. Some youth are going to start. They have to. It's just not feasible that you can't start any of them. Some of them are starting. Kerry says Ollie switched to a 3-5-2. I do really see the benefits of a 3-5-2. I really do, especially to try and occupy the centre halves a little bit and try and press from the front a little bit. Because when we didn't put pressure on them, like in the second half, they stepped up and didn't give us any respect whatsoever because they didn't need to respect us. So that's that. On everything that's going on as well, the Patreon group knew Brandon Williams was travelling yesterday, because that's the sort of inside info that I occasionally put into the Patreon group. So if you want to be first on the inside knowledge of all the sort of stuff that's going on at United, then hit the link in the description, come and join the Patreon group. You get a ton of extra content, you get a fantastic matchday chat with a real top United community that's developing on there, and it helps keep this channel going as well. So go check that out if you want to know the inside info, especially as a transfer window is coming up. It's usually pretty handy, although we did have jack shit in January, but again, nothing happened, did it? So there we go. Ant says, against Southampton, Sanchez went down injured in the box. United players seemed reluctant to put the ball out so he could receive treatment. Do you think there's a contingent in our squad that's fed up with Sanchez and his underwhelming contribution to the team? Probably. I mean, all you got to do is look around the fan base, haven't you, and say a lot of the fans are feeling very similar. So a lot of the players can clearly see what's going on. They're probably a little bit miffed at his wages too. So it wouldn't shock me if the players don't really care for the guy. Nebby, does Chong now need to start with all the injuries? I think he's probably the first one off the bench. I think he's ahead of all the rest of the youngsters, just by the minutes that he's been getting off Ollie. I still don't think he's ready to start, certainly in a game of this magnitude. Previn, it feels like we will start with 4 of the youth players on the bench. As someone who has seen all these kids, taught to them and seen them grow as footballers in the academy, what kind of impact can they make if Ollie subs them on when we have a chance to pull off a miracle? And do you think they have the mental fortitude to complement their physical talents to succeed in a hostile environment? I don't know if Paris is a majorly hostile environment, to be honest. Angel is a very intelligent footballer. He walks around the pitch, he doesn't tear ass around the pitch. He's quite a cerebral footballer, and that's why I think he could be a brilliant key to unlock a defence. But I honestly think that you're better with Angel in the team when you're the team that's on top. If you're a team that's got to graft and struggle, I'm not sure Angel's the guy for that. I think when you're a team that's going to dominate possession and maybe try and struggle to unlock a defence that's sitting there tight, Angel's got that deft of touch to be able to do that. I think that it's going to not be the ideal scenario for him in a game where you've got to maybe graft a little bit. You want someone with a bit more dog in them. I think Verratti's a fantastic example, and Jaden said to me this in the car on the way to school the other day, like Verratti is a great guy that Angel should look to model his game on, and I totally agree with that. Brandon Williams, the one that's just popped up into the squad, I know a lot of you are interested in what he's like. Brandon's a current under-18s captain, and he's a fucking animal. He's an absolute total shithouse in the nicest possible way. That he goes in late on tackles, he winds defenders up, he always gets booted, he's good for a yellow card in every single game, but that relentless desire to win is unquestionable in him, and I think that might be one of the reasons that he's found his way into this team. If you need a dog, Brandon Williams is that dog, and he's not a bad footballer either as well. You don't get to be the captain of United under-18s unless you can play football, so that's what he can bring. Chong is an aggressive, relentless attacking player, extremely direct, can come inside onto his left foot and shoot off the right wing. Very, very, very quick and very intense. Mason, a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more refined. A phenomenal finish, left foot, right foot, as good a creator as he is a finisher, and I actually love to see how he would link up with Marcus Rashford. It'd be very interesting to see what sort of impact he can have when he eventually comes into the first team. 'Cause I think there's half a chance he stays in the first team once he comes in, a bit like Marcus did. Who else we got? Jimmy Garner. Ollie said it himself. He's a 20-year younger Michael Carrick. He's got a good range of passing on him. I'm not sure he's kind of got that defence splitting ball like Michael Carrick had. I think he's a little bit more aggressive defensively than Carrick was. I think he's got a hell of a lot of attitude in a good way. Like, he's got a lot of self-confidence. And for me, he was the player of the year last year for the under-18s. And I think that all of these lads have got a real good chance now with Ollie at the wheel that they can go and make something at Manchester United. And how fucking good would it be to see us kind of replicate the success we've had in the past, bringing through our own youth players. 8 fucking academy players travelling in a Champions League knockout stage is ridiculous. So fair play to all the coaching staff. And I know it's forced because of injuries, but they still did it. You've still left at home the likes of Darmian and stuff. So, you know, I'm happy days with that. God says, is it worth a cheeky punt on Mason to score? Let's see the team sheet. If he's on the bench, let's see. Sausage roll party if Mason scores a hat-trick. Right, if Mason Greenwood scores a hat-trick, because I don't think that's going to happen, there will be free pizza for everybody. You can get down to the studio after the game tomorrow night before we do United review. I'll get all the pizzas in the world in. Dea says, does Pereira take the Pogba role in tomorrow's game? Kind of covered that before, but yes, I think so. Do I think the big Arsenal game on Sunday will have any bearing on Ollie's starting 11? No, I hope not. I don't think it's an issue for the players to play 2 decent games like that, especially when you remember that Arsenal play on Thursday as well. So no, I think we just go for it. Oliver says, wondering what you think about Mourinho's comments. Supposedly digs at Pogba and Ollie. Having seen them, I think a lot more is being made out of them than in what he actually meant. Yeah, straight away they was talking about the Instagram thing was a dig at Pogba. There's no evidence of that. I mean, it might be, but there's no evidence of it. Oh, Jack, I'm not reading out that comment. Until you start behaving and stop mentioning Ashley Young in the questions, I'm not reading them out. Brian says, how long do you think it'll be until we see Marcus wear the captain's armband? Wow. Seems inevitable one day. Someone said to me earlier on, Marcus Rashford's going to end up with a statue outside Old Trafford. And I like the idea of that. Will says, heard a lot of rumours about Young being out due to too many yellows. Even if it's true, would you rather not see the low play right back and actually start a kid? Seems more productive than having Young no matter what. No matter how much experience the prick has. That's his words, not mine, although I agree with them. I think if it was at home, you might be more tempted to do that. I think away from home, I don't know, because you've got to chase the game. And at some point, you actually have to step up and get on the front foot, otherwise nothing's ever going to happen, is it? We've got 1,200 watching. Can everybody like the video, please? That would be fantastic. Richie says, when is Mason Greenwood getting his senior debut? I would think tomorrow night, to be honest with you, mate. What more can go wrong? We either trash the Parisians or we get trashed. On that note, and someone says, what position does Brandon Williams play? He's left back and right back, and he's also played in midfield as well, left and right midfield. But he's a good left back. On that note, people say it'll destroy a youngster's confidence. Well, Andreas Pereira played in the 4-0 thrashing we got at MK Dons. I don't think that affected his confidence. I think if you're good enough, you're going to get through that and realise that results like that happen sometimes. Ryan Giggs was on the receiving end of the 4-0 thrashing that we got at the Nou Camp in 1994. That was an absolute footballing lesson that we got with Romario and Stoichkov. Didn't affect his career. So I think sometimes people want to protect these... I think sometimes people want to protect these players. S. Jewett says, Angel start getting jealous of his under-17 World Cup teammates. Maybe, and maybe that spurs him on to go and have an absolute madness. Who knows? Accidents happen. I think he's replying to a Liverpool fan in there. PSV midfield is top notch, says Victor. Yep, I absolutely agree with that one. PSG midfield is going to be a killer. David De Gea will wear a captain's armband, says Nikhil. I don't think you've seen many arguing with that one. Inter were the last team to overturn the home leg deficit back in 2010-11. Wow. William Price says, anyone remember when Howson said Pogba was leaving? It's not what I said, mate. I actually said there's an 80% chance he will leave, and if you look at his brother's comments that have came out recently, he was leaving. So thank you. Yep, I think I'm going to wrap it up there, but come and join us after the game for United review, when we're going to analyse how Mason Greenwood just introduced himself to the world by scoring a match-winning goal on his debut, like so many other teenage youngsters have done at United. is open. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you're new. Make sure to like the video. And if you've not seen it already, then go and check out the interview with Rio Ferdinand, which came out this weekend. And if you've not seen that one, then also maybe go and check out the Wes Brown one as well, because that's equally as good and a lot longer. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Laters.